Out driving with the queens on the green. Queens out on the green. Who we are, it don't change. Score so low, it's insane. Out driving with the queens on the green. Queens out on the green.
Welcome to Queens on the Green. This segment is sponsored by the American Heart Association. We have a special guest here with us today, Lindsey Huie.
Nish, I am so excited about our guest today. Lindsey Huie, I know, she is amazing. If I could look up the definition superwoman.
As well, she is revolutionizing the term soccer mom because that is out the window once you meet this lovely lady.
So let me give you a little background on Lindsey Huie. She's a 4-time Hall of Famer and a 4-time All-American. She is a mother of 4 beautiful kids and coaches 5 youth soccer teams. While doing all of this, she is currently on the LA Galaxy OC women's soccer team. Please welcome Lindsey Huie. Lindsey, we're so excited to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So, Lindsey, we definitely wanted to dive into, the fact that you are a professional athlete, not just a professional athlete, but a world champion. You are performing at the highest level. And at the same time, after 4 kids, you're obviously performing at the highest level in terms of mom at home. So tell us about your home life and tell us about how you're balancing all of that, being an athlete and being a mommy.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, I'm not even sure where to start with that. Home life is, as I call it, a beautiful disaster. It is chaotic. It is loud. It is everything crazy, so the kids keep me on my toes. We also, I don't know if I told you this before, ran a kitten and cat rescue out of the house. So we have animals, we've got kids, we've got everything.
Oh my God, your house must be like a gigantic party.
It's a zoo. Sometimes you don't know if you're getting, kids crazier than the animals on a certain day, but it's eventful to say the least.
How many kittens do you have?
We have successfully rehomed over 100.
Oh my gosh.
So yes, over 100 kittens. We've had, various mom kitten groups come in, orphan kittens that I bottle feed through the night, just like a newborn. So it's been something.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is all you. Do you have any help?
The kids help me a lot. The kids help a lot in caring for the animals. And, my oldest daughter, I have to give her a ton of credit. She is so great. She helps a ton with the youngers. And so in the morning, if I'm not up yet, she'll get up and I hear their little voices going on about like, not that cereal, the yellow cereal. And so I'll hear her going, you guys be patient. And sometimes I'll hear her coining my terms. I'm only one person. And I'm like, oh my heart.
Gosh, that is too cute.
My heart. And then my other one wakes up, my second oldest, and she's like, what time is it? And I'm like, it's daytime. The day has been rolling. She's like, oh man, I want to get up before everybody. And I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen.
I love that. I love that.
You're talking about your routine, right? I mean,
yeah.
Now you've just thrown 100 kittens into the mix. However, tell us about, how you move in terms of taking care of the kids, getting them from A to Z, I guess, because you've got 4, so there's probably a lot of things going on between. And then share with us how you as well manage to balance training in between.
So in the morning, I usually wake up and then, Kaya has kind of jump started a little bit of the day for me. I turn on my worship music and, really make sure that the environment is positive for myself because I know I have a long day ahead of me. So it's really important that, the day starts off right for me. We get ready. I get the littles off to school. I come back. it's different now, right? Because we're in the middle of homeschool, which normally wouldn't be a thing. But I come back and, I do some cleaning around the house, prepping all the animals and all that, prepping everybody for their online school. And while they're schooling, I'm usually doing my meetings and preparing my trainings for the evening. I just started a new business, so I'm usually doing things pertaining to that. And then probably about midway through the day, I start to hit that level of exhaustion pretty much, just with, it was different. I think 5 or 6 years ago, prior to the heart attack, I could go all day and all night and never feel tired. And as of the last 2 years, obviously, it's been a little bit different. So I know better than to push myself too far at this point. I pace myself, and around 2:00, I kind of start taking it a little bit easier, as my work night hasn't even started yet. I haven't even started actual work yet. Right. So by 2:00, I know I have to start kind of gearing down a little bit. Kids are out of school at 3. So everybody's kind of in that shuffle of now getting ready for practice, and then we're out the door by 3:30 and not even home until 8. So I've got to cook dinner before we even leave for training.
Yeah, Superwoman, super mom. I have a question for you. We all look up to our moms. Most of us do. Yeah. Can you share with me, are you getting your kids into soccer? Are they following in your footsteps?
They are. I don't think that they really have so much of a choice. I'll be honest about that. Pretty much from the time that they're, walking, it's like there's a ball at their feet, right? They want to do whatever they see me doing. And, to be fair to them, they live on the field. So soccer is kind of the only thing that they know. As they get a little bit older and they develop friends, at school, and their friends are doing other things, they'll start to ask or inquire about other sports. And being that it's just really me with them, I have to tell them, you're allowed to do whatever you want. You can do anything you want. But if you do choose to do something outside of soccer, my time there with you might be very limited, because soccer is my job. And so I have to be at the field all weekend. I don't know how many of your games I'll be able to make. So I always give them that choice. Like, if you want me to be present, then soccer might be the thing for you to continue doing, just because I'll always be at every game. If you want to do something else, that's totally your choice. I just don't know that I'll always be able to be available to everything. So the girls do basketball. My older 2 do basketball and soccer. So when they go to their dad's and it's their dad's weekend, they play basketball, and I will go to games in between my games and then leave at halftime or leave a couple minutes before or after. But I really try my best to be like everywhere for everybody, and to give choices, right? Not to be like, you have to be me in the sport. No, you don't have to be what I was, but I'm just saying, if you want me to be present, you might want to keep playing soccer.
And then how do you kind of share with them and tell them the importance of sports, the importance of soccer, right? What does sports give you? I know for both Nisha and myself, right? Like, golf has taught us so much. I mean, for me, I left home at the age of 11 to attend a boarding school at IMG. Nishi, we're 16. And so I think just the competitive side of things, the relationships that we were able to meet, just the diverse group of people we were around. I mean, sports gives you so much. What are some things that you kind of share with your kids about what sports can give them?
I think it's a continual conversation pertaining to a lot of the same things that you said. Is like, they've both expressed at different times, like, we don't really want to do this, like, every weekend, missing birthday parties. And it's like, I get it. I totally can understand that there is that social draw to want to be around kids from school and sharing those experiences. So I get that. But there is so much value in being on a team and understanding that you're one piece of like so many other pieces, right? And that all those pieces have to work together to create, the good of the team, like one dynamic. So I really try to explain to the kids, this is really about learning how to build relationships. And it's about seeing your commitments through and understanding that when you commit to a team, you're committing to all these other people who maybe you're not invested at that level, but maybe they are. And so you're helping them to achieve their goals too. So it's definitely a continual conversation about like these are the building blocks to helping you, you know, later on in life, having relationships, whether they be romantic or friendships or whatever. Learning how to be on a team at a young age, I think, builds up your ability to have successful relationships.
So that's beautifully put, and it's just amazing how with everything you've got going on, you know, you're able to keep all of your kids active and in sports, and you're moving around, and I know that's important. With your ambassadorship with the American Heart Association, I know it was interesting how that came about.
Yeah.
You won in 2019 in July. You won the new U.S. National Women's Soccer Championship with the LA Galaxy. And then you ended up having a heart attack in September of 2019. And I think for the women out there who are active and the importance of staying active, share a little bit about that occurrence and how it happened, and some of the things now that you're doing to sort of live that life of a healthy heart, for yourself and then as well in your home.
Well, I mean, I think when you're active and you're doing everything right, you're eating well, and, you know, I'm homeopathic, so, you know, nothing comes into my body that's not supposed to be in there, even aspirin, Tylenol, or whatever. You know, you never think like, oh, I'm going to have this, you know, catastrophic health issue. You know, I've had minor things in the past, Graves' disease, played through that, you know, physical injuries, but you don't envision when you're healthy that you're going to be at risk for something like heart disease. Nor did I even think before becoming an ambassador or joining, you know, the Go Red for Women, you know, Real Women campaign, that heart disease is the number one killer. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you spend a majority of your life and not know that that's the number one killer in women?
Mhm.
I don't know how I never came to know this information, but I either neglected it or just felt like, and I think maybe this is a lot of people's stories that are busy moms. It's like, yeah, that's not for me.
Mm.
That's for, like, you know, really overweight, unactive, you know, like, you know, people who are not help, they're smokers. That wasn't the case though. I was young, healthy, fit, you know, and so I just never even envisioned having any kind of heart disease issue. But mine was spontaneous, and so there's no way of knowing that it's coming or preventing it. It's called a spontaneous coronary artery dissection, and so literally the artery tears spontaneously. And like a busy mom would, I thought, gosh, that's funny. I must have ate something weird. Like,
Mm.
that's got to be the strangest heartburn I've ever had, you know? Weird. And
Right.
even in that moment, you're still not thinking, like, I wonder if this could be something more serious. I
Mhm.
mean, it wasn't until the heart attack brought me down to the ground that I started thinking, I think something's really wrong here. You know, I
Right.
think that this is like a big problem. So, I mean, in our house, you know, we practice moderation. I
Mhm.
think to say like to only eat organic foods or to have no juice or no soda, it's unrealistic for most people's homes. You know, and I don't want my kids to go to a birthday party and be worried about the one time that they have soda, they're bouncing off the walls all crazy.
Right.
You know, like they need to have some kind of sugar input so that when they're exposed to it, they're not acting a fool, you
Mhm.
know?
Right.
So,
How does soccer play into that? With everything that's going on, are there restrictions? How does that play?
so I am forced permanently back into retirement. So that's for sure. You
Mhm.
know, I won't be playing at the semi pro level anymore. And I don't have any regrets or grievances about it. You know, thankfully, I was taught a long time ago to play every game like it's your last. And you're probably trained the same, right? Like
Yeah.
every time you hit the field as a competitor, you train and you play like it could be your very last moment. And
Right.
so I did that. I've done that most of my career. And so, you know, learning that that would be my last game wasn't devastating. It wasn't emotional. You know, it was very matter of fact, like that's your last game. And now we're moving on in a different, you know, arena. Does it mean I can't be active? No, it just
Mhm.
means I can't compete at that level. So I'm
Right.
still active. I still move and groove a little bit during trainings. You know, when the kids start getting a little, you know, hyped up, I'll jump in there and, you know, for my 2, 3 minute stint, I'm like, yeah, you can't touch this. You know, you still got to keep working, kids.
Yeah. I love that. I love what you just said, because I feel like you're right. You know, we don't really go into things half-heartedly, right? If we do something, we're going to do it with our whole heart.
Right.
And so we don't really know how to like tiptoe halfway in between. So I love that.
Even if we lose one woman to a heart disease or heart attack, it's one woman too many. So your story is inspirational. And I know with the Go Red campaign and just with everything that the American Heart Association is doing, your story is important, which allows women like us to come together with you. Can you tell us, how you've been able to share your story and what are some of the things that you're doing to make sure that the women around you are aware? Because I would like to say that, on Sunday, I had the opportunity to spend some time with you on the phone.
Yeah.
And I literally, when we hung up, I was really blown away. I literally ran to Seema and I was like, you will not believe this story. So, it made me think a little bit. How are you working with the American Heart Association to make sure that every woman knows your story?
It started off locally because I was the ambassador here locally in my area. And then Daniel said, hey, there's this campaign, it's national, you got to jump on it. You'd be great for it, plus part of the, being part of the LGBTQ community, like this would be big. So I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like I'm so overcommitted. Like I just don't know. So Riley and I, my youngest, jumped onto a little audition thing and they, picked us to keep going. And, it started kind of turning wheels in my head that like, when something happens to you, whether it be good or bad, you have an obligation to share the information that you gain. So I started thinking, well, as this whole situation is happening to me and I'm becoming more educated, right, in heart disease and cardiovascular issues, I have an obligation to share this information with other women and make them aware so that when they are busy and bustling from here and there with all their kids, they don't say, oh, this might be heartburn. No, you call 911 and you don't waste any time and go directly to the emergency room. Because I've read multiple stories of women who didn't have the opportunity that I did from the time that things started to the time that things ended. Their story is different. It's more tragic. And some of those stories ended in death because people didn't know that what felt like heartburn was actually a heart attack. So, I mean, jumping onto the campaign has been really important for me, really important for my family. I think as we're all sharing in this experience together, it's helping the kids to deal with some of the trauma that they had and having been there when I was having a heart attack. Although they didn't know what was going on because I didn't know what was going on, they were still physically present. And so I think as a mom, I have to address the fact that there's a part of us sharing our story that's healing for everybody.
No, and it's so important, and I know that in, less sort of privileged communities, it's even harder to get to the hospital. It's harder for women of color to get the kind of healthcare that is needed in situations where, they needed to be rushed to the hospital.
Right.
So it's important that we can support our communities through the American Heart Association. I want to kind of go back to the beginning. You are a mom of four. There are so many women out there who are mothers. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure to point out is you said that putting yourself first, was one of the things you realized after having the heart attack. Can you share a little bit more about that piece? Because I think every woman, whether you're a mom or not, you need to hear this.
Absolutely. In the beginning, I think when you have kids, you become accustomed to coming last. They're crying, they need something. And so their needs come before yours. I think when you do that for a prolonged period of time, you obviously wear down your own ability to be there for yourself, which then means you're not there for everybody else. Right. And so after the heart attack, I just started thinking, my gosh, had this heart attack killed me, like then what? Who would these kids have? I wouldn't be able to be here. And I really need to take better care of myself. And I think when we think about taking care of ourselves, we think about the food we eat and everything that's going into our bodies. We're neglecting to understand that part of caring for yourself is caring for your mental well-being. And that has become a huge crisis across America. And I think the pandemic is showing some of that too. I didn't realize how far removed from my self-care I had become until I had had the heart attack.
Lindsay, I have a question. With so
Go
much
for
going
it.
on, how do you make time for yourself? And what are some things that you do when you have like your downtime, your alone time? Like, what do you do?
Oh boy. Well, the downtime is very limited. I take it where I can get it, right? So when the kids are off and everything, I've got a little bit of time in the car to myself. And, I think these things, we have to be very real, right? About the things that we experience, who we are, like, how we grow. That I think that helps people, right? So, I'll be very transparent. My alone time a lot of the time is in the shower. And so that's my
You
go time,
sing?
guys. That's my
Listen.
go time.
I was gonna say, do you sing in the
That's
shower?
my go time. Like, I am like American Idol, like MVP, you guys, like in my own
I
ears,
love
my
it.
own world. I am Lauren Daigle. Like, it is my time. And so when I hear the little pitter patter feet coming, I'm like, I hope nobody's coming in here. Like, guys, this is my time. And I'll hear like, can I come in? And I'm like, you can come in here. You can come in here, but I'm not changing the stations. I'm not changing my routine. Like, this is mama's time. So if you come in here, like, it's my show. I'm gonna sing as loud as I want. I'm gonna sing my songs. There's no Frozen in here. Like, if you're in my way, I might give you a little bump out of here. Like, I'm doing my thing.
I
It's
gotta
my
ask
time.
you, what is your go-to song then in the shower? What are you
I have
singing?
I have many, but I always open with Lauren Daigle, and I let Alexa pick the shuffle. Okay, you guys.
Okay.
I let Alexa determine the order in which Lauren Daigle is going to play. And
Okay.
when Lauren Daigle is over, we move on to Adele, and I become Adele. Just so you know.
I totally get it. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm like that with Mariah Carey, so I think I'm her in the shower for sure. I don't know.
We
Nisha,
all have that
I'm J-Lo.
personality, right?
I'm J-Lo at the 20, was it
Oh,
20
love it.
Super Bowl? When did they? Yeah, I'm J-Lo at the Super Bowl all day long.
20 Super Bowl.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that's-
if you're J-Lo in the 2020 Super Bowl, can I be like your Shakira?
Yeah, for sure. For
Awesome.
sure.
Lindsay,
Oh,
I
love
mean,
it.
I
Lindsay.
think you can be like the Beyonce. We can all just,
Yeah.
There
know,
you go. I'm down for that. Down for that. I think it's important to carve out the little bits of time that you get. It's not about like, oh, Sunday is my day. That's impossible. That's not the world that we live in, right? Our world is very fast paced. It's very busy. And so I take the little bits of times that I get. And sometimes I do have to say, you guys, it's 3:00 and I need to take a 30-minute nap.
Yeah.
Like, I have to respect what my body's telling me. And my kids are very good about that because they see me working throughout the day. They see me on the go so much that when I say, guys, I need a moment, everybody knows, like, you know what? She needs a moment right now. So they're really good about that. The babies will go into their room and they'll watch their little ABCs in their room, and the girls go to their room and they do their own thing. And in 30 minutes, when I get up, everything's still intact. There's some drawing on the wall, but other than that, everything's good.
I draw on the wall too. It's fine. Seema always- so quickly before we go, because
Sure.
first of all, like, I know we can already talk to you forever. Before we get out, I want you to share your business because it is so powerful. And, I want you to share what you're doing because I think it's so important for women to hear.
So I have decided to launch a consulting business that is primarily right now for soccer players. Eventually it'll grow into other sports for women. And it is specific to, at this time, girls and women only, but it's mental toughness training. And so it's called Gritness. When you think about the word, right, it's grit and then fitness. And so when you work on your gritness, you're working on your mental fitness. So I think it's an important component. And I'm sure, you guys can speak to it too. When you're successful, either in your business or in your sport, is because you have that mental edge on your opponent. Okay. So what I do is I just help kids, high schoolers, collegiate players, professional players, national team players, figure out whatever is hindering their ability to get to the next level. Let's work it through mentally, doing that gritness, that mental fitness, and let's watch you, unlock your inner champion. It's an area I don't think anybody really, I mean, they're sports psychologists, right? And so I would never sit in a spot and say, that's what I do. That's not what I do. I'm not a sports psych. I've created my own intakes. I have my own program. I know that it works because I've used it myself, and I've used it on, my daughter's team, and her team happened to go 28-4, 11-1 in league, and had 114 goal differential. So I know that it works. And they were the only team to ever win a state cup in our area.
Wow.
It's just taking little bits and pieces that are scientifically proven to be effective, utilizing meditation, all these things that can control your, inner anxieties and things like that. Is just teaching yourself how to be more emotionally intelligent, more aware, right? So we can perform at the best level. If you're anxious, you're not always performing at your best. So,
and there's no better person to take advice from when when it comes to you, because you really are someone that has been in the inside, right? Has competed, has been at the highest level. And so to be able to share what you've been through with others, right? You're the inside looking out, not the outside looking in. A lot of, sports psychologists who have never played before,
right,
have never competed, are now telling me how to feel and how to maintain. And it's kind of like, well, how do you know? How do you know what I'm feeling in a pressured situation? And so, there's that aspect where you are the inside looking out.
And I don't
share
step
that
outside
knowledge.
of my right, and I don't step outside of my expertise. I do not speak about rehabbing injuries. I have people that I know and trust and have worked with who can speak to those, topics, diet, rehabbing, all those things. What I speak to is, the mental side of the game, because, and I'm sure you guys can speak to this too. I've had many failures in the game. I've gotten cut multiple times. I've lost games I should have won. I have not always been a champion. But in my mind, I've been working to be a champion my whole life, So, I think understanding failure is part of success, accepting and embracing that. We don't need to run from that. We need to embrace it. Is all part of the program. I put together workshops. And so if you can't afford to do the one-on-one coaching piece, at least you can sit in on a workshop and kind of hear that overview, and hey, I'm good, people. Like, if you need me, I'm there for you, I'll make it work. So, it's really exciting. It's really cool.
Lindsay, we're so proud of you and proud of everything you're doing. And we want to wish you all the best of luck. I know that we're going to stay connected.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yes. And a special thank you to the American Heart Association. I think we're at a time right now as women where we can speak up, be resources to one another. And that's exactly what you're doing. We want to wish you all the best of luck. And thank you for joining us on Queens on the Green.
Thank you so much for having me.
Out driving with the queens on the green. Queens on the green.